What's up, fellas? Welcome back to another episode of Survey with Survey. In the last video, well, let's just show you. We got this rock placed in here, and our walls and collision work for the rock and the walls of the room, and then we made our guy a little bit bigger so it feels like we're actually rubbing up against the wall, and there's no space. There's still some space on the top. We'll have to just draw our sprites a little closer to the boundaries of the image square that we're using. Speaking of which, we're going to be making an NPC today, and so we're going to want to start things off immediately by drawing a new person. You can see all my Pokemon themed bookmarks there. And we're going to go ahead and clear this out. That was fun last time. But I'm going to speed this part up, but without further ado, we're just going to design ourselves a little NPC. Alright, we'll call it a day on this thing. It's kind of stupid. It's not very top down. I realize it's kind of a front view as opposed to everything else is top down, but I don't know. It'll still look okay, hopefully. So let's go ahead and we'll put that in the images here. Alright, so here we go. And we're going to name this, there it is. Rename it to, I guess, just NPC prototype NPC. Okay. And now, what are we going to do? We're just going to do exactly what we did when we added a wall on map setup here. What does a map have? It has rooms and walls, and now it has NPCs. So NPCs equals NPCs. Of course. Oh, that was dumb. Of course, you want to put it up here first to get it to work properly. Then we need a new class for NPCs. This is a bit disorganized. Let's put all the rooms together. It's getting a little cluttered, but we're going to keep it all in the same spot for now. Eventually, we'll compartmentalize all this. Class NPCs. You know, we haven't made a new file in a while. I'm either making a lot of new files or I'm barely making any. And I guess we'll do skin, right? And we'll say NPC proto. And we'll do 10 by 10 as well. But instead of 65 here, we'll do 25. Put them on the other side. NPC 0. And I'm going to go a little slower this time. I think the format has been kind of stupid because I've been just basically like trying to code the entire episode all at once and then test it all at once and then debug. But really, I should just be testing one little feature at a time. So Let's go ahead and loop through the NPCs the same way to display them on the background. NPCs. So if everything's on the background and the background moves opposite the player, then it's just like the player's moving around the world. Oh, these need to be NPC. Oh, and then we need to come up here and do NPC. Sorry. Make sure I don't forget anything. Don't want a bug that I don't realize until later. That's the worst mistake you can make. Alright, is that all correct? I think so. I think this NPC should display. There we go. Should display. No, we have an error. What is it? Skin is not defined. 45. There we go. Oops. Come on. Yay. Here's our NPC. Unfortunately, the NPC is not a wall. They look pretty stupid just kind of standing there. But we should be able to deal with that. First off, let's go into, what was it? Is it physics or interval? I think we have it on interval. Try move. Yeah, so it's try move. If inside, just touching room, and then we check the walls. Oh, you guys can't see. Here we are, so we're try moving here. And if we're inside the room, we check if we're gonna hit the room wall. And then we also check all the walls, whether they're in the room or not, because you don't really know which room, or which wall is in which room, and which NPC is in which room. You just know what room your player's in. So it doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and do this with NPCs because they're an obstacle as well. And you know, we could organize these all in one spot if we wanted to. We could kind of duplicate the objects so we wouldn't have to loop through. Debatable whether that would speed up the game in terms of processing time, but we'll see. I guess we can test both ways out eventually. I don't know why all these are indented. Anyway, I think that's good. So we also need to copy this for every last thing. And yeah, we just need to change the actual index here to 1 and to 2 and oops. Skip the 3 one, yep. And 3. Okay. So I think this will make our NPC into a wall. Made it easy for ourselves. What did we do wrong there? Did we put it in the wrong spot? What's going on? Where is this? There we go. Hooray! Now we get to bump into our friend the NPC. So, nothing too special here. So we're gonna want to talk to him. I think the easiest way to talk to someone would be just clicking on them. I want to add, yeah, I want your character to flip around and stuff. And you know, in normal Pokemon, your character just faces the direction they're walking. But since we're on the computer here and we have a mouse and keyboard, anyway, I'm gonna eventually make it so that your character kind of points wherever your mouse is, just like a kind of like a first-person game. And then you walk around with the WASD still, but the direction you're actually facing to like interact with objects, you just have to click on them. So, you know, if I'm facing the rock, my guy will be facing the rock. For now, we're not going to do it based on the direction you're facing because I just want to get this feature added. We're going to do it based on your proximity to whatever you're clicking on. Okay, so we're going to have a priority list, I guess. We're not going to do too much with this because we're going to change it to basically you're going to have a little what you're gonna have is a little thing in front of you, like a little sight box in front of your character, saying that you're clicking on this. Whatever you click on first, it'll pause the game. So let's get into all that. First off, we're gonna add a click control. So let's go back to our code here as I talk through all this. Let's get a keyboard, right? Let's make a new called mouse. And what do we have in keyboard? I never used this, but mouse. Okay, and then I think on document setup we had the inventor. Yeah. So actually let's copy both of these, but for our mouse down. And this will also give us which mouse button was clicked, like left click or right click. Let me actually show you what this event function returns here. So I believe, do we have to export these? We did. Okay, so let's export them out of mouse as well. We probably just copy paste this to make it even easier for ourselves. What the heck is wrong with my formatting here? There we go. Alright, we'll come over here and forget to copy the E. Oops, mouse down. I think we did it like that. So let's go ahead and we'll make the buttons down. Let buttons down as an object. And I'll just say left, false, right, false, and middle false. So we can add all kinds of controls based on clicking all these buttons, Okay, so there's no key code on E this time. Let's just delete all this for now. We can rewrite all this. I know we copied it all. And this is key up, but it should be mouse up. For now, we won't do anything. Really just want to see what happens when we do mouse down and mouse up. Oops. So, boom. Inspect. Should work. No, we have an error already. Mouse down is not defined at inventor. So we have to import it into document setup. Here we go. That makes sense. I was like, where do we have to export it to? Because I know the function is running when you're actually clicking it. It's not, but the function is being added to the event inside here, so we still have to import it. Alright, and get another critical error. They don't provide, so I must just not have. Oh, wait, no. No, these are from a different module. Sorry. I'll just do this the old-fashioned way because I don't like how it does it wrong. Let's see if that fixes it. Does it? Oh. Terminate that. What's the issue now? Oh, there's not. That's weird. It displays differently. Okay, so I just clicked, and we're getting all these mouse events over here. Oh, you guys can't necessarily see that. Oops. I want you guys to be able to see the errors. Better? Wait, no. Let me just shrink this a little bit. Sorry about that. So we're getting mouse events. This is important here. We have offset X and offset Y. That has to do with, I think, where you're at in this box. So that'll be cool for screen. The page X and the page Y are also important. So what else do we have here? Screen X, screen Y. Yeah, I mean, what we can do is actually like base it on what you're clicking on the screen. But you also have to have a certain range. So we're just going to do range for now because it's going to be based on where you're facing as well eventually. We'll probably get into that next episode. For now, though, the important part here is button. So the amount of buttons I clicked, I don't know. I'm using button 0 for all of these. Let me do one right click. Alright, now we got a new event. Button 2, if we middle click, oops, we get button 1. And we could disable that whole scroll feature with the middle click. We have to override it. But again, we're not going to do all that. We just most importantly want that dot button to match the key code thing. Let be. Sorry, I had to cut out there because I did a bunch of coding and then didn't realize that you guys couldn't see because I still had the thing displayed, unfortunately. So I'm just going to Control Shift Z and show you what I did here. We're going to let button equal e dot button. And then if it's 0, it's the left button. So we're going to basically copy the format of the keys down here, except this one is going to be 1, and this one's 2. This one's middle, this one's right. And same thing for mouse up, but we're going to make all these false. Does that make sense? So let's test this again so you guys can see. Oh wait, we don't have anything to test yet. Alright, so let's go to interval, see what we did. So basically when we run the game, we move the player, and that's how the controls work, and it's based on the things we set when the event happens, keys down. So let's do the same thing for mouse, but we're going to put it all in one function here called controls. So let's make that function. And we're going to move the player, and so we're also going to interact within the same controls function. And now we're gonna just run controls in the interval instead of move player. So we're just keeping this interval up here clean and only have one function for controls, which involves moving the player first and then interacting with stuff. So really we want to import buttons down because we need that information from the mouse script. And we're gonna try to interact if we left click basically. And so we're going to run try interact the same way we try to move. So the default is that you can't interact actually. Whereas the default when you try to move is that you can move. The default here is that you can't interact because there's, unless there's something there, you can't interact. So let's do a loop here through the NPCs to see if you can interact with any of them, basically if they're close enough to you. And I'm just going to grab this as a shortcut. So we got our NPC here, and okay, that was where that was where I caught up. So I was explaining that basically the bottom left corner is where our positions are defined by instead of the center. And that's just so that HTML can display it easily. But the distances between stuff's all the same because the distance between a bottom left corner of this and the bottom left corner of me is the same between the distances of our centers, if we're the same size, really. But I think it pretty much still holds true for the bottom left corner. We're going to be keeping everyone the same-ish size. If there's a bigger object, we'll deal with it later. So let's basically say let dy equal player position dot x minus, I guess we'll do, well, it doesn't really matter because if it's a negative, it'll cancel out when we square it. We're doing a Pythagorean theorem here to find the distance between our points. PC dot x, the square object, it should work. And this is dx, of course, it's dy. And let's say let d equal, and I guess on physics here, we'll just do distance here. Export function distance. Yeah, this is stupid. So we're gonna take all this stuff. Say object 1, object 2. Player position is object 1. Oops. And NPC is object 2. Math dot square root. No, dude. Dx times dx plus dy times dy. Alright, that's Pythagorean theorem. Distance between 2 points. Oh, and then we'll return d. Okay, so let's go ahead here and say distance is, I'll have to import that from physics. And we'll put it here. Distance. Wait, what? Did I not just import it? Between player position and NPC. Okay, and then we'll say if distance, we'll just show distance for now. Yeah, the can interact thing doesn't matter. I just want to test this feature. I don't want to get too much in the weeds. What is the issue? Does not provide an export name buttons down. Oh, really now? Oh, we forgot to do that. Okay, so now we have a bunch of issues. Access distance before initialization at try interact. Huh? What? What is the meaning of this? Not forget to do this again. Try interact, we're having problems. Oh. It's probably because this is a function and it has the same name here. So we just have to call this like dist. Alright. Is that the issue? So we called the function and the variable the same name. Yeah, we don't have any more bugs. So now when we click, we get 20. 20 is our distance, right? Oh, we should not be. Okay, so it's trying to interact regardless as of. Wait, is that true? Should only be if buttons down dot left. Oh, I think we're still showing something else here. Hold on, I need to clear the debug. Is this true? We're only showing distance. Let's add like a D so that we know that that's from there. Is that all we're getting? Because if so, there's an issue here with our mouse up function. 20D. Okay, no. No, we're getting something else happening. Somewhere else there's a debug. Here we go. ob2.left. We don't need that. That was a stale message from last time. Okay, I always want to clear that out so you can see what you're looking at in your console. Yeah, so if I hold this button down, it's going to keep trying to interact over and over again. Which, you know, is a problem. Maybe, but maybe not. But we're seeing our distance here between ourselves and this NPC. So the closest we should be able to get is 10 if we line up perfectly. We can't get any closer than that. And if we're at corner to corner, we're going to be, you know, 10 square root of 2. But anyway, this is, you know, we're getting close here. Basically, we want to start a dialogue with this guy when we're within, let's say, 15. 15 look good. For any more than 15, we're not going to talk to him. So let's X this out and come over here. to interval. Let me try interacting. I'm going to say if can interact is false. We actually need let interaction index is -1. If dist here is less than 15, interaction index is going to be I, and can interact is going to be true. And we really don't need this can interact. We really just need to say here if interaction index is greater than -1. Then we will interact NPC and we might interact with other things later, so we'll have interaction type is nothing, and then or interaction type is -1 as well. And then here we'll say interaction type equals 0 for NPCs. If interaction type is 0, interact NPC. We're just kind of making room here in case we want to interact with other stuff later. Interaction index. Boom. Now, I'm going to make a new file called we'll call it npcs.js. We'll take our normal stuff here, and then we'll basically say export function interact NPC. That we can import into interval here. Interval's becoming quite the huge document. Alright. Here we're going to say current paused false. We're going to go here, we're going to say import current. I'm going to say current dot paused equals true. And we're going to come over to our interval, and we're going to say if not current dot paused. That's the only time we're going to run this. So now it should basically crash our game when we talk to the guy. Yay, so we can't move now. And there's no errors except our normal 4. But basically we've paused the game, so it doesn't work. So now we need to pop up like a big version of this guy and have some dialogue pop up. So let's go ahead and interact NPC. We're going to say we need to import div maker from document setup. And we're going to make it on the screen. This is the normal div maker, not the game one, where we set the bottom. So if we want it on the screen, and we want it to be conversation NPC, and we want it to be a div. And we want it to be 50 by 50, 25 by 25. That kind of centers and halves it. No background color. Of course, we need the interaction in the index here. We probably need let NPC equal current dot map dot NPCs index. Okay, see the logic here, and then we're gonna go ahead and do imager. We don't need that one as well. Conversation NPC, and we're gonna make it the NPC.skin. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Hooray! Oh, looks terrible. Seems to be the problem. It's on the background? Wait, why is it? Height is 50. Top. Shouldn't it be on the screen? Where is the screen? Yeah, the screen's here. I don't get how this is at. Oh, height and top and left. Wait, okay, I have something in the wrong place. Something in the wrong place here. Div maker. Let me just look at the div maker function. Oh, I'm so stupid. Sorry about that, guys. Div maker. So I don't need to put div. So everything was shifted. There we go. Hooray! Okay. So this thing needs a higher Z index than the player. That's for sure. Don't want the player to be on top. Let's say find conversation NPC dot style dot Z index equals 2. Does that work? I think our player's at 1 and our background's at 0. Hooray! Okay, well that's annoying. We'll fix that later. But here we have our guy. He's a little too big still. I think he's too high up, or too low down. He's not too big, actually. Let's go ahead and bring him up by shifting his top value to like 10. Okay, that looks good. Because now what we can do is put a new div underneath him as a box. So let's take at least this part. Screen conversation words. All right. And it's going to be 100 by probably about 15. Wait, 50 plus 10. No, it can be 35, I think. Top of 65. Left of 0. This will be white. Alright, and then we'll say, okay, this is where it gets interesting. We actually have to program our dialogue in. So let's go ahead to our map setup here. And this is where we're definitely getting disorganized putting everything in map setup. But let's go ahead and kind of complicate things here. Class dialogue. Is that how you spell dialogue? I think so. This doesn't extend anything. We have a constructor. Let's see here. We'll start out by saying line list. Okay, because dialogue can get really complicated, especially if you're saying yes, no, maybe so. For now, we're just going to have them speak at us, one line at a time, okay? Oops, no insert. This dot, no, why am I caps? Why am I caps? I just hit no. This dot line list equals line list. Okay, so this is all we kind of need. And then we'll say let dialogue 00 new dialogue. And the line list is going to be hello, sir. I am a person. And that's it, okay? So now we can add a new object property here to the NPC class for dialogue. I'll say this dialogue equals dialogue, and that's why we use capital letters for classes, because sometimes a class is also a property of another object. This is kind of, you don't have to do it like this. You don't have to be actually making this as a separate object. You could make it while you're doing it in here. But I don't know. Depends on if you care more about structure or what to look at. I like my code to be kind of English, close to English, where I can understand what's going on. But in any case, now when we go our NPCs, we should have access to that through this NPC object. So let's just kind of experiment here. We're going to say, is it text maker? Texter. Texter. Conversation words. Gosh, I hate how it doesn't tell me what the ID text size color. Hate that it doesn't carry through if I import it. ID text is going to be npc.dialog.line_list 0. Size is 100. Color's black, I guess, for now. Alright, let's see if it works. Hello, sir. Of course, when I click now, nothing happens. It's not checking if I'm paused or not, okay? So that's why it's good that we switched the interval. And this box is too big, it looks like. Why is it too big? 50 plus 10. Oh, it should be 60. Wait, hold on. This is 10 and it's 50, so it ends at 60. This one is the top of 65, so what's the problem? It should be too small. Yeah, I'll shrink it down. Wait a sec. My div maker, regular height, yeah, top left. I'm confusing myself. So, what's the problem? Height, top. So it should end at 60. So then this one should... Oh, it's because the imager has that weird overlap thing. Got it. Maybe I should have like game imager versus regular imager. That's fine by me. I'll put it at 70. It was looking a little big anyway. Hello, sir. Okay, so we don't need the text to be that big. Let's shrink that down. Let's try 50. Hello, sir. That looks good to me. Alright, so now when I'm clicking, nothing's happening. Fortunately here, if current.paused, but else, alright, we kind of need, instead of paused, we'll say game state. And we'll say it starts running. Alright, and then we'll say if game state dot running. Game state equals running, sorry. Current dot game state. Okay, and then we'll kind of change this over here to current dot game state equals talking. And then we'll come back to interval and we'll say if this is talking, because we're not necessarily going to have the same controls whenever we're paused, right? Talking controls. You can say running controls. Oops. That's not a camel case. So we just need to change the name of this to running controls. Copy it to do talking controls. And we'll just say I don't know. I guess we'll just do it like this. If buttons down dot if are we already importing buttons down? Oh yeah. So if buttons down dot left continue, we'll put this in NPCs as well. Export function continue conversation. And we'll say basically find conversation words dot inner HTML is nothing, and then we'll say texture again. Boop. So what we then have to do is come over here to and okay, we're in full coding flow state mode, so I hope you guys are happy. We need the current line. This current line is going to be 0, and we kind of have to yeah, it's not really a variable here, but when we come over here and we start the conversation, we have to say npc.dialog.current line is 0 to restart the conversation in case we had it going before. Line list, oops, NPCs dot, okay, we need to grab this guy here. PC dot dialog dot current line. And we're gonna add one to it. Okay. Does that make sense? But we have if npc dialog current line is equal to the line length dot length, or the line list dot length. And in fact, we should probably just say let dl equal this because we're using it so much. dl.current line npc.dl. Oh, I looked and I wanted to make sure that you could see what I was coding. I didn't code too much like last time. Line list length. And then if it's not that, then yeah. So we're gonna end the conversation here. End conversation. Which will involve no export or anything. Function end conversation. We're just basically gonna say fine. Oh, and you need that safe remove, right? Do we have that safe remove? Yes. Safe remove conversation NPC. Oops. As well as the conversation words. And we're going to say current dot game state is running again. Alright. Hooray. Will this all work? First try, probably not. Hello, sir. Alright, oh, I hit that instead of inspecting it. Exposed my IP address. Console. Talking is not defined. Where is that? Talking is not defined at interval 22. Interval 22. Oh. Psst. Yeah, I just totally forgot how to code. It's like you forget how to speak the language. Yeah, and we really just did not finish coding that properly. Okay. Hello, sir. What now? Another error. Good stuff. Cont is not defined at talking controls. What? What? What was I doing here? I was coding too fast. Talking controls. Continue. Okay, we need to import continue conversation from NPCs. We didn't close the loop. That's all. Cont? Continue conversation. Continue itself is like a unique functional thing. Alright. And hello, sir. So close. Another error. Index is not defined at continue conversation. NPCs. Index. Oh. We kind of have to know who we're talking to here. But we can just have this be inside of NPCs. So let current convo equal -1. Current convo. Current convo equals index. And then we'll pass it to here. Current convo. And then we will say current convo is back to -1. And that's how because we actually want to have an error if something's going wrong. If we accidentally try to have a convo going when that is -1. So here we go. Hello, person. So I think when we fire this, I think we need to fix this a little bit. We basically need to say, the buttons down thing is one thing, but let's do buttons ready. Buttons ready. And voila. And we'll have the buttons down and the buttons ready. So I'm about to go eat breakfast. I'll take a little break, but let me just finish this. I'll take a break and then I'll polish it. Buttons ready. Okay, same things here, but buttons ready. This way, it'll still be down until we lift it up. But whenever we trigger an event like start conversation here, where is that? Interact, try interact. I guess it's under NPCs. We should just do it before we run it. Try interact NPC will say buttons ready. We have to import that as well. Buttons down, also buttons ready. And really, the only thing we care about right now is if it's ready. So come over here, buttons ready dot left. Buttons ready dot left equals false. There we go. And then same thing whenever we continue the, so we do have to import it here. Anyway, that sucks. Import buttons ready. Oh wait, actually no. We don't because we have try interact and then we have continue conversation. So this should be buttons ready as well. And say buttons ready dot left is false. Hooray, okay. Will this make things run slower, or we have an error? Hello, sir. I'm a person. Hooray! And now we can move again. Don't have any errors. Okay, so that didn't take too long. We got dialogue. We got a working NPC in less than an hour. I'm gonna make the text look a little better, and that's the last thing I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna go eat real quick, so I'll cut out. All right, you guys, we're back. So the last thing I want to change is to have the dialogue kind of pop up one character at a time instead of one line at a time, and also maybe center it. So shouldn't be too hard. I guess we'll do the centering first since it's pretty easy. I think we should probably just do that in document setup under texture. Just say element dot text align or style dot text align. Oh, if we know how to spell, it would pop up. Center. Is that how you do that? No. What's the property called? It's not text align. Oh, okay, it is. I just had it spelled wrong. So that's done. We looked it up on Reddit. And then finally, so in terms of getting it to appear one letter at a time, I think what we can do is come over here on interval, and it's running controls versus talking controls. So continue conversation if your button is down, but then we're gonna say otherwise. So the way we have it right now is we have interact, try interact, and then interact NPC. And this is where everything pops up, including the first line. So instead of this, let's have it be, and then the game state becomes talking. So instead of putting the whole line like that, we're going to at least come over here and say interval. And we're going to say talking controls. So if you're talking, we're going to have this happen. But we should have it be in the NPCs file. Let me think about it. We're going to do this function. We'll just say next letter. Right? And so current convo, we'll say let current letter equals, actually we can put this on the NPC itself. So let's go, what is it, map setup? This dot current letter equals 0, right? And so then when we start the conversation, current letter is 0. Okay, so the next letter is going to be this guy. So we'll say, we'll export that. And we'll import it to interval. I'll go fix that import line. I know it's messed up. Okay. So can't test it yet. Next letter is going to be this. Oops. It's going to be basically this. And we'll say this. Dot char at, and it's gonna be well, here we'll get the dialog again. Let DL equal this. Just to shorten this a little bit, consolidate it on the DL, right? So DL dot current letter. We'll say DL dot current letter plus plus. I'll do that afterward because the first time this is gonna run. Okay, so what is our logic flow here so far? We know we're gonna run interact NPC here and create the conversation words. Alright, and then we're gonna come over here on interval and it's gonna start running this next letter every frame. Okay, and the next letter is gonna be running here, so it should put the right thing in, and then we'll say if dl.currentLetter is equal to the line dot length, then we're gonna say, okay, let's go ahead and basically yeah, we'll put it on map setup. We'll put it on the dialog here. This dot line done is false, and then we'll come over here and dl dot line done is true, and then we'll just say if not dl dot line done. Alright, does this logic make sense? I don't know. Hopefully nothing changes. It continues to flow. Can I also put this here? Okay. Oh, hey, what the? Hit the wrong button. Okay, come on. Work. Oh. Kind of worked. Not really. The other thing we have to do is, oops. Say when the line done is true, say dl dot current letter is 0. Alright. Oh, okay. Here's the problem. We're doing texter, which replaces the text. So we could make a new function that adds text, or we could just say find conversation words. And this is probably the worst way to do it in terms of code efficiency. Inner HTML plus that. So this should, yeah, there we go. Hello, sir. So that part works. The problem is the continue conversation is still not fixed, so yeah, we don't need to do anything here. We just need to, will this fix it actually? No, it's not doing anything. Oh, because the line done here. So then when you click to go to the next line, continue conversation, we'll say dl dot line done false. In fact, we should probably put this here. Hello, so I'm a person. Right, okay. Looks pretty good, right? We could obviously make the text box a little prettier. This image is very blurry because it's rasterizing or whatever. The pixel ratios don't line up. But, you know, there's a lot of improvements to be made. But as a prototype, I think the dialogue is good. And we can add all kinds of extra features into dialogue that actually gives you items and stuff. But for now, pauses the game. You know, I can't move around. I'm talking to this guy. I gotta keep clicking. You can kind of click anywhere on the screen and this will still work right now. We'll tweak that a little bit later. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. And if you enjoyed, leave a like. Please subscribe to stay tuned so that we can keep on coding together. And have a good day!